Wait a minute, I just realized I'm Steve. I've been reverted back to Steve. Hang on, give me a minute. One moment. I had to change it back, you know. This is not a great start. One moment. No idea why I switched randomly. At this point, I think I might just keep an eye on Ray's Twitch or something. Maybe Phoenix's, because I want that new cape. Don't know if I'm going to use it, but I want that new cape. I don't know if you can get it through YouTube or not. I don't think very many people who would give them out, well, whose streams would allow you to get it, would be streaming on YouTube anyway. Alright, well, back to it. Back to the creative world we go. And there we go. Alright, what do we need here? I'm gonna just use glass. I think it'll be unfunctional. No. What are those bed textures? Those bed textures suck. It's in color blocks? What? Okay, yes, it does make a little bit of sense. Need a bunch of stuff from the redstone tab. Let me get dirt. Regular dirt. And get into suits. Slab. Water bucket. There it is. Composter. And bed. Sand. Not sandstone, just sand. Why is sand so far down when I type in sand? Piston. I'm gonna work on the bottom so I know where to put everything. Sand, piston, dust, lever. Building the zombie system is as simple as piston, sand, dust. Floor level is there. Oh, I guess that doesn't have continuity enabled by default. Actually, you might be able to literally just do that. Let me grab smooth stone as a moving block. Let's see, iron fireplace here. Piston, sand, or a sticky piston with your floor block of choice. I think it'll work as a glass, it might. So by default the lever will be on, but this actually has to go one block out unless put the workstation behind the villager, or it would be like that. Put the workstation behind the villager, but I like the workstation to be in front of the villager. That way, yeah, that's not going to work. It's transparent. No, it's not. That's what I thought. And there we go. That'll stay on like that. Then you get your workstation, and then you can just put it in like that, and that works. I'm still getting used to Zoomify. And it's one block. Alright, so the walkways themselves have one block spacing. Yeah, the walkways themselves, they have to have one block spacing. That's non-issue. I mean, I guess the extra space could be useful to some. Hang on, what I can do is I can use trapdoors and you can not wait, you might be able to put these next to each other. Maybe. No, you can't. If I get the glass out, you can't do dust and dust. It has to face into the piston, but you can use repeaters to do that. However, that block is also going to be activated, so then you have to turn off a set of levers. Because this will actually be just multiple levers together. You'd have to turn that lever off, both would stay on, but you want that block to go down so that that villager can zombify. You have to turn both of them off, but then both of them would turn off. Not exactly what you want. Block. Repeater. Into a piston. No, that's exactly what I suspected. It does not power the heater. Let me turn that lever off. No, it doesn't even power the dust. Okay. So having a block on each side is probably gonna work a little better anyway. Makes it trapping the villagers easier rather than doing trapdoors. Rather than just doing like trapdoor, flip it up, and then trapdoor, flip it up, even though that will work. Because it'll keep this villager here, Then we'll also keep this villager here. No, you want the workstation to be down here. So these trapdoors, the trapdoors will make it more compact. I'd like for it to be somewhat compact. Hmm. No. Then if that's a solid block there, then that piston is bud powered. So I made a bud detection machine. Ooh, even then, trapdoors may not work for that. And you can put your workstation there, but it doesn't update it. Make that a transparent block. Bring it down. Ooh. Put it into dust there. Make it so that this doesn't go through. I think I have to do a repeater. And that'll go through down to there. I can't do a repeater there, because then that one won't power. And I'm just building it out of glass for now to be able to see everything. This one's a whole lot simpler and a whole lot cheaper for 3 blocks of space, both sides of which can be shared. It's just 2 dust and a piston. It does make it a little bit longer, however, and slightly more expensive because these walls also have to go up. But even then, if there's a villager up here, it'll still work. But will he claim a station if a zombie's down there as well? And actually, just do that so the villager's feet is still accessible by the zombie, but he still can't escape. Like, the zombie wouldn't be able to get to the villager from here, but from the side. But then when you flick the lever, then the zombie will be able to access the villager now, and hence be able to kill the villager, zombify it. This is on right, yes. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna do the non-trapdoor design. A lot simpler to build, a lot cheaper build. Keep a trapdoor here that the villager can't escape if there's no workstation. Hmm. You could use a T flip-flop string on the bottom here. And I say on the bottom because that way, there, the villager won't trigger it again, meaning that it won't reopen anytime you zombify the villager. For that, I need string. String observer, stick piston, full block. So you can move the back of this with a sticky piston. Throw the observer down the floor, facing right into a block. Right into a transparent block with a couple pieces of dust. And let's see. Perfect. And let me just prime it. My idea is to allow villagers to get in, like adult villagers, to get into the system. There it is. There we go. Our observer should be facing into that string. And now there's no way to get out. Oh, that's interesting. This is the state it's on at default. Okay, if I put a villager there and drop the villager in, just like it would be dropped normally, drop him in like the water stream, there will be a sign behind the villager, maybe even two pistons, or like two lines where there's one here and then one with block, and there's torch there and then a gate here. That I don't know. Alright. So the villager does block this up accordingly. I mean, maybe the villager can even go into a minecart. And then the villager he drops. He drops into the sand block. Okay, so I think I didn't want to really have to go into an iron heavy system, but if you just look right over here, that really shouldn't be a problem. But I think minecarts might be the way to go. Um, what is my Okay, there's stuff going on in the background, but he does take the job, but he does fall down too much. And there we go, he's already out of the system entirely. I mean, we'll cycle a new system in, but no. I feel like having fun with the mace. Alright. This system is a no. I think it's because of the falling block. I like whoops. I like to change that out anyway. I can change out the observer-based system, but this system works just without the zombification, which is kind of something that I really want. So what I could probably do, behind the villagers, a set of activator rails, and like, no, I can't use a tripwire because that's 3 blocks. I mean, I guess I could if I make it 3 blocks deep, but by then, you're better off just making a manual input system. I can use activator rails and use... Okay. So, like, you have your minecart. That is a transparent block. Then you have your minecart system going here. The zombie will not be able to access the villager, but if I use a slab there instead, in theory, if I bring that down, now the villager won't be able to escape unless he goes through the piston, in which case you put down another slab and there you go. Or like a block there or something, I don't know. I'll have to test with this system. That might have to turn into just a regular sticky piston setup. Which I'd rather make this slimeless, but it's fine. But then making sure that's up and using an activator rail. And then detector rail. Then using an activator rail here. And then use a once a system confirms there's a villager in. Maybe I could even take the thing up. He also can't reach the workstation when he's down. But that's when he's inside of the sand block. There you go. Or is it because it's past working time now? If I do a rail over top, there could be a sticky piston right there with, well, actually a set of 2 stickies with a rail and then with the block. Let me just get all the different rails I'm gonna need. So I need rails, detectors, and probably a few powers as well. Effects. Give S strength infinite 255. And then in theory I should be able to just put the detector rail, I want it to face that way, on a mine on there. Alright. But then it breaks. Is that solved with a sticky piston, or does it still break? Yes, it does. That doesn't, though. Maybe it could be the segment before powers this one, so then when this detector rail is tripped, or like a tripwire is tripped, it knows close this one. Let me just test real quick. Just like power this fast, just to give a test scenario. Pop a villager on a track with a minecart. And if I put a rail there, it'll... I mean, hang on, yeah. Slow it down a little bit using an unpowered powered rail. There. Slows down too much on that powered rail. Use a standard rail. That. Alright, so the villager is just traveling too fast. But in reality, it would be powered rail, rail, powered rail, rail, powered rail, rail, powered rail, rail. I'm gonna leave that one powered. In theory, this is how it really would be. I think it still just glides over, and that would be another powered rail. No, it glides over. Unless I put like like whatever the signal is from that one is, flip it around. Or wait, minecarts sync. Do they sync with the rider that floats? Because you could put a villager into a minecart and send it on a water stream, and then use the same system as old. But it uses a detector rail, and that detector rail is what sends the villager. Detector rail, maybe it connects up with a powered rail, and then they get zombified, and then the powered rail is able to send them back up. Maybe. Let me try with a water stream. Because that might be the solution. Still using minecarts. Still using minecarts, but now it uses a water stream to get in. A sign behind the villagers. A sign behind the villagers. You'll have to do usual water stream stuff like that. Now this does mean you're gonna need like a water station every now and again, and if I just get water bucket, that should go like that. Good. I got a rail. The minecart, it should just, instead if I get a rail with a minecart, then it would fall all the way down, but I don't think it would get stuck in the sand. Build the system of old real quick. And then you throw a minecart into the water, nudge it there. And then it'll fall down. Yes, because minecart's gravity is relatively lower than if the zombie is like on a set of blocks here. And then with the minecart here, it should be able to get to the villager, and then you don't need these trapdoors anymore since the villagers cannot escape their minecarts. And that does reduce a little bit on the amount of iron, not by much though, because minecarts are ridiculously expensive. And there we go. Should still float down. Good. And it was off. Now it's on, so just set it to the day. And then yeah, this block up here the water stream would get blocked up and it would continue. Now, what I might be able to do is instead use gates. So like it just keeps traveling there. It goes there with a fence gate. Which let me just get just like block it off for now. If a minecart ends up there, maybe like if my car ends up there, then that's an issue. Lever. Minecart. Now obviously there would be like another one there and one there. But the minecart does choose to fall. Which means that villager is pathfinding away. Villager spawn the villager, place the minecart. That worked before. It's not working. What? Come on. Enter the frickin' minecart. It's a water. Not even the minecart. Rail. Villager. Cart. And just in the water stream. Just get in the minecart. There you go. Alright. And because the minecart dropped, it should still drop, except there's still a minecart in there. There we go. And perfect. Villager does drop. You can get rid of that block too if you really wanted to. I probably wouldn't. Yeah, you would trade with this guy to lock in his trades, zombify him. He can't reach the workstation, but then he comes back up zombified. You whatever. Alright, so how would this be? I think it would be rail line up to the first, then it would be one there. Oh, and by the way, that fence gate would close. Fence gate there. That's one. That's three. That's five. That's seven. That's eight there. So then this one would be a rail. Using the momentum from that water, it would continue on then. So all the gates close. This minecart should theoretically just keep. Did I miss one? It's getting stuck on the gates. Would trapdoor work? Yeah, let me block up the water for now. Yeah, because gates have a raised hitbox. Actually, no, let me do it over here. Alright, there we go. Close that one up, open that one up. And there, water flows. And now minecart should be able to travel through the water. And right over the trapdoor. Great. Uh, block there for now. Throw that there. Now try a minecart. It's too wide. Alright, so trapdoors are out. Do I really have to use a piston with a block? I would not like to use a piston with a block. Are there any other sorts of those that I can use? Because there's the obvious, there's a piston with a block. There's the fence gate and the trapdoor. Minecart is too large for both of them, and villagers swim. Doors have the same issue. I really don't know. Powder snow that's removed by water. Can't place much of anything else at all. I think their hitboxes, yeah, their hitbox is 1 by 1. So fence gate is out. Unless I raise the water up by 1. I use fence gates. Use fence gates, but then slabs with the water on the next block up. Slabs between. That rail would be on the next block. That rail would be like a raised rail. It would be like rail block, destroy that rail block. And then it would be fence gate. And then all this water on the next block up. And in theory, on the closed gates then. And of course, these rails would be on the next block up. Those rails would be there. That's where the water would place. It would go, it's gonna go between the gate You can mitigate this with signs. It's gonna get fairly expensive fairly quick, but just as a proof of concept at least for this design. Oh, that one just have a message on it now? Yeah. A. The sign is eternally screaming. Alright, and now minecart. I'm gonna write it myself, see what a villager sees. Alright. Wait a minute. So let's say that one is now occupied. Then the minecart skips that one. And it glides. And it just falls down that one. Alright, so that one's now occupied. And then another minecart. And it cancels. And when it tells you you're low on battery, it cancels everything and says deal with it. That's what I hate. So I'm gonna watch this minecart. Does it go down or does it catch the rail? It catches the rail. So I think I have to move this water by one block that way. Because that one is inaccessible, so if I make that one the end of the line, at the end of the water, that would be nice, but then if I do that, I don't think that the front block is needed. I don't really think very much of any blocks are needed unless you're just getting the workstations in. But even this first one, I think the minecart has too much speed, it's not gonna hit it. Exactly, it just falls down the second one, so this water has to go back by one block. And that has to be a slab. What am I not using right now? I'm not using the piston, not using the lever. Sign, water, minecart, slab, and fence gate. And it still flows as normal. Now at the end it should try to fall. And if not, it's segments of 3. But I hope this can be segments of 4. Not like 2. It still skips the first one. Okay. So I think this is going to have to be segments of 3. Where that would be the last block. So we'll just have to be minecart on that. Then it would be the rails to get back up. So if I just close all of these, then I can send a minecart that would go through this whole segment. Yeah, I skipped through that entire first one. That's not wanted. Then it would catch that rail and just sit. Okay, so that needs a bit of fixing. That's fine. Actually, you could probably just fix it using a power rail and a lever. There you go. This has to go back one more block, and I think that last one will be inaccessible. This will finally make that first one accessible. But it might make that one inaccessible where you'd have to put down that curved rail and then this whole system again. Oh wait, that was closed. That's it with a passenger in it. It wouldn't be traveling that slow normally at all, so... Perfect, it falls right in. Alright, so say none of them are occupied. Send a minecart through. Makes it to that first one fairly quickly. And second, it skips through that first one. Alright, that one's occupied. That one's occupied. What I might be able to do is like observer string technique. Or like you manually lever these gates. But an automatic system where it's pretty much an RS NOR latch. A simple vertical RS NOR latch. Alright, and yeah, I kind of figured. Alright, so this one would be where the rail sits, but it would be a set of powered rails. Actually, it'd be detector rail, powered rail, or regular rail. I'm going to try it with a regular rail. So in the minecart, I'll test it with a passenger if I can land. There we go. Up. I test it with a passenger. See, you can either like just manually use a lever or close the trapdoors, or not trapdoors, close the gates yourself. Or you can just throw on an observer system. Perfect, and then you just build it exactly like that. Where it's 2 slabs, then 3 villager pods with a block in between. Perfect. Alright, now the RS NOR latch, which would be just as easy as a few blocks, a couple torches. So that makes a torch tower. Button. Let me just grab a button. It's literally just a button. Alright, even then that's not vertical. Alright, so that's a torch burnout clock. Alright. Um, hmm. Dust there. Torch there. I need that one to turn that off. Might, can that do it? maybe. Block there. Computer there. Transparent block there. Does not power. Repeater. Well, I can just do the solid block there, can't I? So I don't want the button. Let me just power that. And it doesn't power the block that the torch is on. Let me put the block, the dust there. And I can make the torch there. I can move the torch there. Block there. Wait a minute. And I power that. No, it's just a button in the other direction now. Back to the drawing board. Let me just make a flat RS neural etch. Alright, there's a flat RS neural etch. There's a flat RS neural etch. Alright, so torch. Block with a dust on top. Transparent block. Solid block. That one doesn't have to be transparent. And facing right into dust on transparent. Alright, so none of these actually have to be transparent, I don't think. Attach it to the torch blocks. Oh yeah, it doesn't travel back down. There. No, it's a button circuit. Is that? That is powering. Oh. No, that's the one that needs to be the transparent block. That one transparent. That one can be solid. I won't power that anymore though. Which is the entire point. So that's a button circuit now. I can't put a dust there. That's a pretty interesting clock. Not what I'm looking for though. Alright, so it's torch burnout when it's turns into torch burnout. Which means that has to go down by a block. Can that happen? Maybe. This is starting to really get messy. No, I want it to stay one thick. Hmm. This is a really simple RS Snorlax. I'm just overcomplicating things. Action block, torch, block, torch. That torch is not powering that torch. Which means I need a repeater. Block. Block on top. To dust. And there we go, that should be it. Never mind, that is indeed not it. That torch powers block above it. I need this torch to power that dust. Block on top of it. I've done it. One wide, non-tileable, unfortunately. But a one wide RS Snorlax. This can be used as a toggle. I guess I can also use like a copper bulb or something. But that keeps it nether free. Attach this in some way. Hang on, I have a lot of Discord notifications. Yeah, so there we go, I have an RS Snorlax. Slap it on the back of one of those. Make it so that it is in this state by default. And then that torch is connected to the fence gate. Or no, it won't, I want it to be that state by default. So it's in this state by default. Probably like shift it over a block or actually put the gate there. And you don't have to worry about water. So it's in this state by default. Actually, you have to worry more about water with it there. Ooh, where am I going to put the fence gate in all this? I know. Put a block there. Fence gate. Villager comes in. And the gate is closed. And that actually works. Can that be a piece of dust, though? Just to make it even simpler? No, it does not stay powered. Okay, so it has to be a repeater. I mean, I guess I could literally just make a T flip-flop, and that'll work even better. Our Snorlaxes are cool, though. So that's a pretty cool one wide vertical R Snorlax, minus those two blocks. Yeah, this would be the default position. This would be the giant wall and water stream stuff here. Yeah, I don't like how far back it is, though. Yeah, times a day. Like, that'll come back around then. So one thing you can do is you can have these hallways, but then you can also turn it 90 degrees. You can turn it 180 degrees, take it across here, 5. Actually, I'd like for it to be no more than like, I don't know, how, like, one block. Keeping it in one block is going to be difficult. I mean, what you can do is you can just manually go through it. Like, let's say you want to now accept the group of farmers. Then minecart comes in, bam, 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 as the minecarts come in. Get the trades that you want, then you can lock them in, zombify for cheaper prices, stuff like that. The zombie in the bottom will probably be the hardest part, if not the redstone collection. Because that's already 3 pieces of redstone. Alright, hmm. So that's just, so this retrieval system works great. You can send the minecart over an activator rail into the lava and then into a cactus for recollection and stuff. So you can automatically dispose of villagers if you have an abundance. Ooh, that's why I built the arsenal latch, because string server tripwire system. So you hook that up to the RS Snorlatch. You would hook that up. Actually, this would probably be inverted. This would be inverted. Actually, you probably don't need any of this at all. If it accidentally, the only problem would be if it accidentally fires again, because you could leave it open and literally just do block dust, and then when a villager ends up falling through, no, solid block. Solid block would help. Yeah, dust, and then it would immediately close. And the only problem is that it quickly opens and closes. So if you have you have your villager in a minecart, you want to zombify him. I can't reach the lever, but you can already just hear with the constant opening and closing. So like prime it, you open it. He sent the minecart without himself. Wow. There, you're in the minecart. Then the villager will get sent through, sent down. And it'll be pretty annoying when you zombify him. Because there it goes. And there it goes again. But if a villager is coming through at the exact moment that it flips, you'll then have 2 villagers in that spot, which is, to say the least, undesirable. I mean, I could move that down by a block and like send the pulse up using vertical redstone trickery. Because then the villager is on the bottom constantly. You know, let me get string, grab the observer. Observer into a block. Actually, will that work? I doubt it. No. Alright, so it would be dust there. Into a solid block. It complicates things a little bit, but you won't have double firing. And then when it And then when it's clear, you can just break the minecart, open the gate, and there you go. It's primed for another villager. Make that a transparent block. Or not even a transparent block. That can just be a regular block. That can be any block, and then dust. Then you can open it, prime it for another villager. Alright. Yes, yes. Walk into the mic. Thank you. And then you have him pick whatever job you want. Say this, you want this guy to become a farmer. He's a farmer now. You can zombify him quick, bring him back up, and then you don't have that flapping open and close. It's an extra dust. It adds to the width as well, meaning that instead of 3 blocks between, it's 5, but that still should be enough for zombies to get to the villager. And because the villager's in a minecart, I don't think as a zombie he'll despawn at all. But now you won't have misfirings. So there, the gate would have fired, and it would have fired on the return trip up. Meaning that if a villager was coming at just the right time, the minecart would go down and you would have 2 villagers in the same pod. Not exactly what you want. I mean, this is also an optional upgrade too, because if you're keeping track of the villagers and let's say you have a lever that pushes and pulls a block like there, then all the minecarts, then you would probably have a flood of minecarts that stop here, or you just have a system that turns off the clock for minecarts, something. Yeah. Yeah. Like back here, all of this, that's optional. Even the piston, the sand, and all that is optional. Like if you just want it to fill, then you can get rid of the levers. It can be like 3 blocks wide, and it'll still work flawlessly. Now to hook this up. I think I'm going to take a system from Cubic Meter. So I've confirmed this works. I don't need that because you just open the gate and there it's primed. Then close the gate when it accepts a villager using an automatic system. Then you hook together a bunch of these to get a line. Like let's say you have 12 of these segments, 6 in a line and then 6 in a line, and that's all your librarians. Then you have like farmers and 3 for the iron traders, and then I don't know. It would be something to design. You don't want the villagers going in a constant loop though. You do want like a specified start point, that being the villager breeder, and then a specified end point. If you're building this system full, the most expensive part is 1 quartz. I think you might be able to manage like 30 seconds of nether mining. Maybe a minute if you're unlucky. If you don't have an iron farm, then just the sheer amount of iron, I do not recommend this with no iron farm. If you do have an iron farm though, I 100% recommend this as it's a simple system, yet it has all the features that you need. So it's not as complex as cubic meters. system, and it doesn't need to be as complex as Cubic's system. Ooh, I have just the right amount of inventory space. I wouldn't get rid of the glass between modules, pods, whatever you want to call it. And you can't get rid of that one either. That has the detector rail on it. So that combo can be used to launch right into another segment. It can be used to turn the system, and all that various stuff. Is there... If I take that into a note block, it'll run pretty much the same. I mean, with the way that it's running now, minecart's not gonna shift side to side ever, unless there's some outside force acting upon it. Even then, I do not think a villager's gonna get stuck in that space. I don't know. If the powered state was closed, then this would entirely work. If powered state was closed, then you can just set up a lever and there you go, you can't accept any more villagers. Like the opening and closing of the gate for the 2 gain ticks, that's gonna be that can be too long and boom, system broken. So I don't actually think that needs to be that long. Like it can just be boom, boom. Actually, hang on. Let me build, let's see. So, space for the villager to sit waiting for a minecart. Yeah, so I think I just need like a 1, maybe 2 blocks, a lever to send 1 final villager, but keep the clock going. I might use a boat clock in this. Boat clock that'll periodically send the villagers. Alright, but let me... I need that. There. So that one will be the solid block. I'll have like a... Is that one will be a dispenser. This one will have a lever down the bottom, so it's just always active. There. 3rd time's charm. Dispenser. There. The villager will sit. Probably align the villager using the gate. Or even just a regular, like a regular fence or 2. There, align the villager. And you add as many minecarts as you want. You can even hook up one of the iron farms to a minecart crafter. Ceiling above his head, break those two. Actually, take these 2 blocks out by one. Rip wire. Get rid of some of the blocks I'm not using. I'm not using sticky pistons. I'm not using repeaters. Not using torches. Not using buttons. Okay. Rip wire. There. And the villager will wait here. Let me get iron trapdoor. And make that a solid block, maybe. No. With a dust. Perfect, and then when the villagers grow up to be adults, they'll land in here, which will have a water stream, and when that fires, I could probably fire the dispenser and break that block. Probably that one as well. But when that tripwire fires, you make both of them solid blocks. So when that fires, maybe that can be the system that sends out a minecart, and then you have a lever. Maybe it's like down when you first enter the place. You have a lever that'll connect to the dispenser. You turn that on, and it won't work at all. But then you have to turn the lever off, and then hit a button, and then that will begin the system. But I like the clock idea a little bit more, so I think I'm gonna keep it a solid block in case I want to do like smart activation. But yeah. So the villagers will be dropping in. We'll be moving toward that. Water and villager. Let's see if the system works. Oh yeah, because of the child. I'm sorry I have to do this. Another child. Yeah, that villager is still in there, and then if I burn a minecart. But there's 2 of them in there. It's being powered from this. I need to put the lever there. It's being powered from the what? Oh, because those have QC too. Dispensers have QC. That means if multiple villagers get in the system, then... But it's not updating. Even then, if a minecart fires immediately, it's too fast. Alright, so you'll have to have the minecart, so that'll have to just be a block. You'll need a minecart dispenser. Where's a dispenser? There it is. And minecart dispenser there where it can't be QC powered. It's a slab. That's a hoe. There. And more villagers. There's a child. Alright, and then you can... No, is it that? That's not a solid block, so... Yeah, and then there's 2 there. There's 3. And they're all gonna stack on top of each other. Let me just send them off. And that one's not moving. The villager's in just the right spot. Alright, that's 1. That's 1. And it's not moving. If I put that at an angle, will it work better? It moves up now. At an angle, put a block there. And there, he sits there. They stack so high. They stack so high it almost doesn't work. I'm gonna use these minecarts until my game breaks. Except for that one. You get to live. There's a child in there. it looks like when there's a lot of villagers, like a lot of villagers, that's when it gets to be multiple inside. Yeah, there's 2 inside now. And you still can't send it. When there's 1, most of the time it's fine. When there's 2 or more, that's when it seems to break. Hmm. Yeah, now it's sending another 2, which means I might have to align these guys to be perfectly 1 by 1 using a wooden trapdoor. Oh, I already had one. Alright. Align these guys horizontally. And trapdoor, which won't work. Maybe it will. I don't know. I don't think so. No, because this one can't have the trapdoor in it. So the villagers will all be aligned single file. I could make the water stream go diagonal into a set of glass panes. And put like iron bars or something that doesn't connect. Maybe fences and nether brick fences. I want to keep this as nether free as possible. So currently, it likes small numbers of villagers. So maybe what I could do is put together multiple of these, maybe like 2 of these systems. And then it should hopefully support a large number of villagers. Like something like this. Like just an absolute ridiculous amount of villagers. I am about to put a stair block on top of you guys. Because even with however many villagers I was able to spawn there. See, there's already 2 coming across, so 1 could just have like these multiple villagers going through, and then another one to filter all those multiple villagers out. The only problem is the trapdoor that'll put the villagers. The trapdoor will put the villagers out of the tripwire, which shouldn't be too much of an issue because the villagers are going to push each other out. But even then, I can use something like a I don't know, fence gate on that one, but the fence gate isn't going to work as well. So, actually, no, I don't want to do slash kill. And yeah, if you happen to get a thing of rollback, as long as it rolls back onto the powered rail, it'll just roll up into that block and roll the other way. Maybe. It should. And my car is like very slowly moving. I don't like this. Oh, my car is like not moving at all, so I'm just braking it. Alright, so string together a couple of these systems and it should work perfectly. There's one system, like one block. One block between so that they don't power each other unless I do, yes, unless I do this direction, like a tripwire here, then this direction. So there, there, with a piece of dust, break that, and now it has to be a transparent block there, just so it doesn't power that, or I hope it doesn't power that. I can test and see, one way to find out. Perfect, and then another trapdoor up here, then when two are sent, one should only be pulled, that's... Alright, and then roof it off. And there. Now it should only get one villager to the end. It's a little expensive, but hey, it works. Did I put that the wrong way? No, I didn't. Okay. I'm just gonna spawn them in this way. Your head is in the glass block. Oh my goodness. Alright, he's swimming up. If I put a trapdoor there, he's still bumping against that trapdoor. Man, villagers are a pain to deal with. Even then, you'd want this block further out. And you're down. Villager's 2 blocks tall. And let me break that one so I can get through. Alright. And that did not break in redstone. Okay, good. Villagers are more than 2 blocks tall. Or they are 2 blocks tall. Like they're 2 blocks exact. How they were able to get in that one, I have no idea. But I think the villagers are gonna have to come up from below. But I'm gonna need a way to sort them. Or separate them. That's how you have to have them on. So you have to have them on. And the fact that there are 2 villagers there should not be any problem. The child is slowly moving through. We just... Let's just say you had left the villager reader running for quite the while. Let's just say you left it running for a little bit of time. There we go. Oh, that one's gonna send a lot of villagers the next time there's a child. Yeah, it's gonna send a lot of villagers, because that one has 3, so now that one's good, but they're all stacking up next to the trap door. Now it's just 1. That's gonna be 3 villagers on the next, then it should be 1 and 1. They're pushing them into the corners in the direction of water. There's a problem. What the heck? Alright, so something I've noticed is I think the minecart just has to be already moving. So I don't think the separator is going to work very well, but I do think pushing them all into a fence, pushing them all into like a fence post, or probably a wall would be better. Seems like it might work fairly well. No, that's not what I'm gonna click. Yeah, you can see he's getting stuck in the minecart. So I think with the wall here instead, let me get a wall. The trusty old cobblestone. Still getting stuck on the minecart. It's how close they are to that block. It's that block. They're pushing on the minecart just enough. But I think... Let me move that. Just kind of do like powered rails. There goes a simple arrow Snorlash. And whatever. And I think that'll be... I don't have to test with the dispenser. I know dispenser system works. You just have to use a dispenser system. So I'm going to turn these off, effectively removing... not effectively removing them. I'm going to remove them. And there you go. They're all against the fence now. They're all against the fence now. So in theory, set that block there. Okay, so they are stopped by, so the villagers, I think, are stopped by the absolute mob of villagers. Yeah, so it's the amount of villagers that's here at the end that the system gets affected by. Yes, it is the villagers that stop the minecart. Okay, so walls are still too big, minecarts are still getting affected by villagers. Or the walls are still too small, I should say. But actually, now I should be able to use trapdoors. And that might... Let me just get rid of this entire tripwire system. Alright, and then a bunch of trapdoors should do the trick. That's a child. But yeah, now they should be... like, they'll huddle into a group. Especially if there's a really high amount of villagers. Oh, that was a child. So yeah, if you don't have a proper disposal system, this system absolutely fills with minecarts. So you send the minecarts into lava, or if you want to recollect them, send them into a cactus. But yeah, it looks like they're all up. Some of them are stacking together, but that's toward the ends. It shouldn't be too much of a problem for the minecart. Yes, it is. So when they're all one by one like this, the system can easily take it. So I think you're gonna want this. No, it can't. Sometimes it just stops on the... Huh? Why are minecarts so confusing? Like, bro. Um... Ooh, an idea I just had. So they're coming in from this way. That and that will turn into rails. And the powered rails be there. with lever minecart, and it turns the corner into the villagers. Alright. Villagers going in. Now it shouldn't have a turning problem, but it shouldn't have a, like, the minecart should not have any issues with turning the corner at all, but they should also not really be empty. And in that case, you can just delete the minecart, prime that, put the minecart back into the system, and prime it again. The sheer number of villagers is enough to stop the force of a frickin' minecart. Really, it was one too many. Okay, but overall this turn does seem a lot better. Until it overflows. Fuck! Come on! Out of here. And the water's gone too. Whoopee! Okay, but that turning system seems a lot more reliable than before, but I might put a detector rail there saying basically we're there, basically telling the system, yes, the minecart went through, unknown if it has a villager, but what I could do is some sort of a smart system using tripwires up here, basically saying like, yes, got a villager, or no, did not get a villager. Minecart confirms yes, and yes, it is a villager. Basically, if minecart confirms yes, there's no villager, then it sends it right back into a cactus. Minecart says no, the entire system freezes, and you have to go up, fix it. But I think what I'm gonna do is send this into powered rail. I just send it into a pit of lava. For now. Make sure no one can escape. So, yeah. Smart system, possibly. And even then, that there would be the kind of system that you would put at the end of the track. So all the villagers go through that, or you can just activate a rail the villagers into, say, town. Alright, that's working perfect though. Yeah, you set up like a dispenser clock system. Not this fast, not nearly this fast, not like, okay, a villager sent out another, sent out another, sent out another. It won't be that fast. It'll be something like, yes, we received a minecart, wait this many ticks, send out another minecart. I think maybe wait until it's through this first one, then send out another minecart. So there. Alright, it's past that first one, then it would send out another minecart. You might want it a little bit further than that, just to give the minecart time to fall and land on the sand. I'm thinking like put the detector rail there. Repeater, probably 2 of them set to 2 ticks. Let me get a detector rail. Let me set it up and see if that's enough time. That is not nearly enough time. Dust. Solid block. I think that would be a dispenser. See for this. So I'm gonna see for this here. So 3 additional repeaters. Oh wow, that is 4 ticks is somewhat fast. In the interest of keeping this fairly compact so you can easily fit it over. So you can easily fit it over top of this, like you're down here on the floor and it's already like invading your space. A pulse extender might be a bit better, but that into a block, like for that, not that height to be like the ceiling. So put it into a solid block into there. That'll lock it, I think. If I do comp or comparator, I think that'll just freeze the. I think that'll just freeze the circuit. It didn't even catch it at all. Does a comp need to go here? Comp might need to go here. Will then be a block. Which will then be a dust there. No. Computer reading out signal. And that feeds into a pulse extender into a torch here. Torch there, dust, dust, comp. Send out a cart. It doesn't send through adjacent blocks. What? Alright, so that needs to be a block then. It's still too low. Alright, so that'll be a dust. Dust leading into a block. Casual sounds of a villager dying. That'll be like a torch, and actually, because of QC, I can just leave it at that. And that block is already on that set of blocks, so it's absolutely fine where it is. I just do comparator, comparator, dust, dust. Um, spam a bunch of villagers. This villager. And there you go. Alright, now that should work. Let those villagers clear out. You might need to do like a two comparator system. That will extend the pulse quite a fair bit, but that is really freaking expensive. Alright, so minecart will be sent out at the press of a button. That is way too fast. Put together more of those. That's sent out. Actually, that might be like a good amount. I'm gonna need to construct more of these, which will be real simple. String or the tripwire. Port, I guess. Get rid of observer, dust, dust. S key didn't work for a bit there. That was not fun. Actually, I don't need that block there at all. String, string, string. Alright, let's see. Let's see if this works. That should... That is... Now it's only re-going because I don't have the floor in. But I think that is the entire villager sending system. It's automatic. And it seems like the timing is just right with two comparators. And then, of course, because all the villagers are gone, you would reopen them to prime them. And if I do, let me get Hopper. We got Hopper, let me get a chest. Just absolutely fill. That would be a dispenser. Except not. Except move the lever there. Dispenser. Let me get my chest. Hopper. Dispenser, and I do actually want a piece of dust to update the dispenser because it's bud powered. And then hopper shouldn't be powered. It is. Don't tell me hoppers have QC too, so you can't do any hopper lines in. The hopper is powered by that redstone dust. Super bud powering redstone dust. Go! It's powered by the dispenser. Is it powered by the dispenser? I mean, I guess hang on. Yeah, that's completely fine. Because let's fill up the chest with parts. Fill up that with parts. Fill up the dispenser with carts. Send out a cart. And there it's stuck. So the system, because of the way that it's setting it all up, the minecart got stuck. So there's no system. Maybe you could attach another one of these. And then you'd have to nudge the minecart back and forth a little bit. And there we go. It does remove them from the chest, same issue. Just nudge it back. And it's still having, It could just be the number of villagers, because that's a lot of villagers. That's just a lot of villagers. Alright, now the amount of villagers, that's a little more manageable. And maybe. So yeah, I'm gonna just do a little bit of that, a little bit of that, and a little bit of that. And then send a minecart. Why is it getting stuck? Quit getting stuck. That's not that hard. Okay, that has to be a block. That has to be a block, and this can be removed. That's what's stopping. That's what's stopping the minecart. No, that one, thank you. Okay, that's what's stopping the minecart. There needs to be a block there. Let me Oh, I never primed all of these. Anyway, so... Okay. Yeah, fairly robust, like, priming system. Now, let me absolutely flood this with entirely too many villagers to be OSHA compliant. And that should be plenty of villagers. That hasn't really drained that much. And now, between cycles, you will see 8 in the dispenser, don't worry, because dispenser is getting depowered, the hopper is able to push and pull. Alright, now it should have no problem getting through. And that should be just the right amount of time, too. Yes. That is just the right amount of time. Alright, so 4 comparators for the whole system, for the entire system as a whole. An observer each. That's really it for nether items. And then the system will just keep running and running and running. And for some reason, that's not working anymore. There we go. Yeah, it'll automatically, if it runs out of minecart, it won't send again. And obviously, it won't send a villager. So anytime you do want to restart the system, you either have to power the dispenser. Well, you can't, because of the way that it's being powered. So you're going to have to place down a minecart manually in order to restart the system in case anything breaks. Not the best option, but what can you do? You could probably also say there's no villager, divert the minecart back into like a cactus or something to have it recycle. So that way you're not losing minecart or villager space for empty carts. That's actually a fairly necessary system. That way you're able to actually divert the minecarts. So there's automatic minecarts. So it'll send a minecart that has an actual, will send a minecart automatically. From there, from there it'll either keep it going or it'll turn the minecart one direction, send it into a cactus with a hopper, and then send that hopper into that hopper there. That way you can recycle the minecart in the case that your breeder either isn't working or it just doesn't have any more villagers to put into the system. And then for the end, you could probably do like activate a rail, then into a cactus, then hopper water line into the input so you can once again recycle minecarts. Hmm. Outside of getting zombies, that's really it. It's fairly expensive, that clock system, so if you want to make a repeater clock, that's fine. Might have to fix these. I might have to use a lever-based system rather than a detector rail-based system with 2 of them, because that seems to be working every now and again. I mean, it is pushing itself out, and there it's sending empties, so like those empties would have filtered out and been recycled. Like diverts it into a cactus and it moves it back over here. Then at the end it would do the same thing basically. Yeah, this will just keep running. The chest is already almost empty. So, this is what's actually happening in the dispenser. It sends a random item, but then when it depowers, the hopper brings it back. And it doesn't send based on villagers, it sends based on minecart. Which is why I have the idea of diverting it. Probably flipping that system so they can have all breeder and minecart related stuff over there, and then this can just be like raiding hall. You can make it look actually good. Yeah, sometimes it does get stuck, but the system will push itself back. And then I might play around with an ending system where it's an activator rail. Where it's an activator rail that puts the villager into lava or a cactus or something. Probably lava on a magma block, maybe. And then the minecart just gets recycled. That way, if a minecart's not being used in a villager pod, in one of the villager stalls down here, then the minecart will be recycled back through the system until another one opens up, or you turn the system off. And, and to turn the system off, all you really need is a lever. All you really need is a lever. You put it like down there, and like what I would probably do is when all villager pods are filled, flipping the lever on. That way you stop cycling minecarts, therefore less lag in the area. And now each of these pods is 3. That's unfortunate. 3 is a prime number, so it's easily divisible. Let's say you need 36 librarians, 1 for each of the trades. That's 12 of these segments, which is a lot, but that's 12 of these segments. Yeah. That the villager breeder that would be put right here would be the one that I've built dozens of times in the past. I think there's one that says 120, that says 1.20. That one I have uploaded. That one you can just plonk onto this one, onto this system. Bedrock Iron Farm. Don't know when that's coming. This, I want to prioritize my focus on this, and I also want to re-upload the Villager Breeder video, because that one's quite bad, to say the least. But, yeah. I want to re-release, yeah, I want to re-release that. So I want to make I want to make a video on this, probably make some modifications. Flip that over here. That way you can have the diversion system and the hoppers right there. And then make an actual end system so that you're not losing 5 iron per cycle. That everything is taken, there's no space for the minecart to go. So yeah, I'll work on getting that stuff uploaded, I guess. Once again, Bedrock Iron, don't know when that's coming. I am ending this too much like a video. Update video probably. I don't even think anyone's gonna be watching this. If you are,